From the skies, relief rather than explosives. A proposed 72-hour ceasefire appears to be holding in Gaza. It's giving the chance for aid supplies to be delivered and for war-weary residents on both sides of the border to inspect the damage. Rowie Rettenberg is live in Tel Aviv, and Israel has pulled back its ground troops there. Tell us more, Rowie.
Indeed, we saw thousands of troops and tanks leaving on Tuesday from the Gaza Strip, heading north and east to the Israeli side of the border. This isn't quite necessarily an indication that this operation is finished. The Israeli Prime Minister and the military spokesman on Tuesday asserting that Israel will keep troops there in preparedness positions in a defensive line, and we saw many of them taking positions in not just along the area of the border in this buffer strip that Israel has created, but also within the communities that sit quite close to the Gaza frontier there. Additionally, Israel, in the meantime, amid the ceasefire, sent its own delegation to Cairo for indirect talks with the Palestinians. This, of course, follows an announcement on Friday by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that would not happen. There would no more talks of ceasefires. It appears that one of the changes, one of the things that dramatically is different now than was on Friday, the last time we heard a 72-hour ceasefire, is that Israel says it has completed demolishing, or what it considers, it's calling the decommissioning of those tunnels leading from Gaza into Israel. Israel saying there were 32 tunnels destroyed, now saying it can pull its troops out of Gaza because those tunnels have been decommissioned. One of the conditions for the ceasefire in the past that Israel wanted to ensure was that Israel's troops could continue those tunnel operations. Now that that's out of the way, Israel saying it can actually participate in the type of ceasefire perhaps that the Palestinian factions want.
So, Rowie, now that the ceasefire is holding, are things getting back to normal for people living in southern Israel?
We saw several residents of southern Israeli communities like Zikim and Kfar Aza, some of these communities that were most hard hit by not just the rockets, but one community in particular where there was one incident where Palestinian militants emerged by sea onto the shore, and the group was killed in an exchange of fire with Israeli troops. We saw residents of that community returning as well. Some of them say they are still scared. In one community, one man said that a strike, a salvo, hit the door of his daughter's door of their home just moments before that ceasefire went into effect at 8 a.m. These residents have returned. They said this is their home, and they're hoping that that ceasefire will hold, that calm will hold. Some residents are more skeptical, some saying that they've been dealing with this for 15 years and they need a ceasefire that holds for 15 years. But we did hear from the major general, the Israeli major general in charge of the operations in Gaza, telling residents there in those southern cities that they will be protected, that there are extra Israeli forces now dispersed in those communities to protect them, and that the situation now on the ground has changed.
I see. And Rowie, what about the people in Gaza? How is life resuming for them?
Indeed, we can't forget some of the devastation, the destruction that we've seen emerging now that people have come out of their homes in some of the communities, some of the cities like Rafah, like the Al-Shati refugee camp there in Gaza, Beit Lahia, other parts of Gaza City as well. We saw the devastation, a lot of homes, lots of buildings destroyed. International aid agencies are warning not just of a dire situation in terms of the destruction, but also potential disease, a lack of clean water for the people there, lack of access to adequate food. A lot of the areas that were bombed were also agricultural areas, so we know that there's a problem getting the food supply in. Separately, we saw a lot of aid arriving from a number of countries crossing in through the Egyptian-Gaza border at Rafah. Aid arrival from countries including the United Arab Emirates, for example. We also saw a plane arriving of goods from Italy arriving in Tel Aviv, destined for Gaza. So we know the aid is coming in. Already people asking immediate questions about how the aid and the money will get distributed in order to reconstruct Gaza as quickly as possible, but that appears to be a far off decision at the moment. We know that the people there are in dire need of immediate assistance, and that seems to be the priority on the ground as people now are trying to get out of their homes to find food, to find the basic resources they need.
Rowie, thank you so much. Reporting live from Tel Aviv. We will see you again at the top of the hour.